The Backrooms. You've been here before. Level 398, the Grove of Seasons. Welcome, my dear human. I am so pleased to see that you are interested in the Grove. It is my home, the home of my hunters. Note, see Entity 398, the Wild Hunt, and the home of my kin. Ah, did you think my hunters and I were the only ones who lived here? No, we are merely the ones who travel beyond the grove, following our purpose of pushing you to your limits. The rest of my kin tend to stay home, content to indulge in the visitors we get. We have many names, all given to us by your kind. Gods, demons, the fair folk, monsters, such quaint names for us all. But the one we are most partial to is Primordials, a name that harkens back to when life took its first breath. How very like you to come up with such a fitting name. Regardless, when you come to the Grove, you become our guests. Hospitality is sacred to us, and no harm shall come to you in most places. Beyond the center, the forests become more wild, more untamed. I cannot guarantee there will be no stray hounds sniffing about or other more dangerous creatures. See related tale at the end of article. Regrettably, there are also a few of my kin who do not care for the gifts you bring. They may kill you on sight, or they may attempt to bargain with you. They are capricious, their moods as fickle as the flames that bite at a fire's fuel. These outcasts do not represent all of us, but it would still be best for you to come to the pavilion. The pavilion. The pavilion is both a space for congregation and trade, and lies within the exact center of the grove. You can find it beneath the tallest tree, the heart tree, which represents all of us within the grove. Oh, how your kind describes it. A kaleidoscope of color. A painting of reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, and pinks. The biggest fucking tree I've ever seen, goddamn. Such poetry, such delight in your surroundings. You fascinate me. Regardless, every season has a claim to the tree, and no matter our squabbles, it is a place of neutrality and peace. You may trade with humans who have taken up permanent residence here, as well as others of my kin. All trades are equal, enforced by me and the other three that govern the grove. Any discrepancies or disagreements in the pavilion will garner our attention, and even if you are a guest, we tolerate no misbehavior in our midst. Unruly or violent guests will be ejected or punished. Ah, it was requested by a friend, see second related tale at the end of article, that I add a small bit of information from a human perspective. I don't quite understand why she was compelled to write it, but she was insistent, saying it would cause less tension between our kinds. Alright, so even though many primordials in the pavilion are polite, and may even look human, don't forget, they are not. They don't use money to trade, preferring to barter one item for another. However, what you consider an item and what they consider an item is vastly different. They will take stories, locks of hair, names, memories, and anything else you can think to offer. You will get something that has an equal value in return, but you will never get the original thing back, so don't be stupid when making deals. Also, they don't understand hyperbole all the time, so make sure you are extremely specific with whatever you're trading. Too many people have lost arms and legs to them. Also, the pavilion doesn't cater to a purely human audience. You will see body parts on display. They try to be somewhat polite about it, so you're not going to see any human heads unless you go into a tinted stall, but they're not going to stop selling human parts, and making a fuss about it is one of the easiest ways to get kicked out or punished. So just don't think about it too much. On the bright side, you can get almost anything here if you're willing to pay the price. For most humans, all they need to know about is the pavilion, but there are 4 forests beyond the pavilion you can explore. Each one is defined by a season, and each one is governed by a monarch. Should you want to do more exploring and make more contact with the other primordials, I recommend you visit the monarchs first to gain their blessing. As I've said before, there are a few of my kin who do not value the gifts you bring us. They have split away from us, preferring the company of other outcasts in the wild forests. However, they recognize anyone who carries the blessing of a monarch, and will avoid you if you have one. They have no desire to bring our wrath and fury upon their heads. Fall. No image caption available. To the south of the pavilion is the burgundy, scarlet, and golden forest of Fall. The forest is a beautiful place, as the sunlight glitters through the trees, but the real treasure is the library carved from stone by Monarch Rashad, our keeper of knowledge. Every story told by you is kept here. Every memory you give us is written down. Whatever question you have, Rashad and his archivists will answer. He will greet you warmly, and will listen to any story you have to tell him. Of all the monarchs, Rashad is probably the hardest to communicate with. How do you talk with a being of living fire? Regardless, he is friendly to anyone who wants to contribute to the library. It's amazing how he does it. He calls up stone from deep within the level, and shears it into thin tablets. Then, with a fiery finger, he carves every word you say into the stone. He links everything together with metal, despite the pain it causes him, and sets it into its place within the Grand Library. Despite being made of stone, the tablets are as light as any book. Of course, not everything there is true, and not everything there was told by humans. Be careful what you read. Some knowledge is not meant for us. And whatever you do, don't destroy any book. Angering Rashad is like angering a wildfire, and he will burn you alive, and bind your soul to your burning ashes. Winter. No image caption available. West is winter. I know your kind is not meant to live in the cold, at least not without clothing, so I cannot in good conscience recommend you travel there unprepared. But fear not. Monarch Althea can travel within her borders and beyond, alerting all of us when one of your kind falls into the grove. It is because of Althea that winter is the most welcoming and warmest of seasons, and that the grove can be as safe as it is for your kind. Unfortunately, you cannot see her, but take heart in knowing she is watching you. If you do wish to explore winter, merely ask her, and she will grant her blessing. She and a few other denizens of winter delight in hiding surprises for your kind. Any hut you find there will have a bed for you to sleep free from nightmares, and the warmest of furs. Winter is a place of rest, and I hope you recuperate well. I don't know much about Althea. Together, she and Hearn enforce the laws of the grove. I'm not completely sure how. I've never seen her, but you can feel her. Every so often, the wind will gently tuck your hair behind your ear. You hear the whisper of a laugh. A small gust brings you the smell of food or sounds of conversation, leading you back to where people are. Troublemakers never see her coming. The wind will whip up, turning into a furious tornado of leaves. The tornado surrounds the troublemaker, and, just as quickly as she's come, she's gone, leaving no trace but a leaf, softly falling. I don't know where they go, just that they're gone. So don't bring her ire. Spring. No image caption available. North of the pavilion, you will find the forests of spring. They are lush and filled with burgeoning life. It is within these forests we cultivate our gardens, and provide shelter for game to populate the rest of the grove. You may find berries, fruit trees, and herbs growing all throughout spring. Take what you want, but no more than you need. We will know. All of this is maintained and tended to by the monarch of spring, Titania. She crafts each plant with care, and treats each one as if they were her children. She is famous for her feasts and banquets, and would be happy to invite you, should you impress her. Yes, this is the Titania, the fairy queen from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Whether she existed before Shakespeare wrote about her or after doesn't matter, because now she is just as real as you and me. Of all the monarchs, Titania is the most fickle. Her moods swing wildly back and forth, just as quick to bless you as to kick you from her palace for a perceived slight. You can't rely on getting her blessing if you want to explore the forests of spring. However, her domain is one of the more peaceful ones. She doesn't tolerate disorder or ugliness, and frequently pushes the outcast primordials out of her domain to prevent her gardens from being trampled on. If you do want her blessing, she is obsessed with the art of weaving, having no ability to make clothes or other soft items. If you bring her clothes, clean ones, and especially fancy ones, she may be inclined to give you her blessing. Whatever you do, though, don't remind her that she kissed an ass. Her palace is strewn with the remains of English majors who couldn't keep their mouths shut. Summer. No image caption available. My domain. My season. My home. It is a sprawling green forest, hot and humid, like the season from your origin. Note, see the enigmatic level, the front rooms. As the summer monarch, it is my duty to bring all humans who wander into the grove to safety. Summer is just east of the pavilion, and my lodge is just a doorway away. We are always happy to entertain guests. Before so many of you came to the grove, it was my honor to host any human within my lodge. But I am delighted to report that my note, see Entity 389, the Wild Hunt. Messages, note, see Person of Interest, Hearn the Huntmaster, have reached you. So many of you have come to prove yourselves, to renew the relationship between my kin and your kind, that I had no choice but to provide you your own lodging. Some of you have even decided to stay permanently within the grove, to trade and give us your gifts in exchange for respite from the other realms. Note, see the list of levels. And others of you relish the challenge we provide, and volunteer for the hunt. My heart swells with emotion, full of joy for every person who has visited the grove. My treasured friends, my precious humans, it is my hope that describing my home has enticed you to visit. Always, the grove will call to you. Always, you will be welcome. We are waiting for you. There's not much to say about Hearn that he hasn't already said. He is the most open, the most inviting, and the most human of them all. But you can't forget that he's not. He doesn't realize how cruel and destructive we can be. I warned him to keep the grove secret, to protect it from those. Note, see the group, the BNTG. Of note, see the group, Backrooms Robotics. You, note, see the group, the UEC, who would bring it and the Primordials harm. He smiled, in the way that he does, and assured me that they could defend themselves. I have no doubt they can. But I know who we are. I know what kind of beings we are. I know what we do. We fight and destroy and hate. But I refuse to let our faults sully this place. Know that I will defend this place with my teeth and hands and weapons. I will stand side by side with the Huntmaster and eliminate those that threaten him, that threaten us, that threaten this place. So watch yourself. The Wild Hunt aren't the only hunters here. More dangerous creatures. Link to related tale, out of season. The Backrooms. You've been here before. I stood at the edge of the frozen glade, my breath curling in the air like whispered remnants of forgotten spirits. Above me, the heavens churned in a cosmic dance. Emerald, violet, deep cerulean, colors not meant for mortal skies. The auroras pulsed unnaturally, shifting with a sentience beyond comprehension, an omen that marked this singular night. Behind me, the Wild Hunt was silent. No eager movement, no restless anticipation. The usual fervor of pursuit had dimmed, not into hesitation, but something colder, a stillness honed by understanding, by memory, by fear. We had not gathered for mere sport, not to chase men lost in the backrooms, nor the hapless things that wandered through the liminal spaces of reality. Tonight we pursued something greater. Tonight we hunted it. The thing that had hunted the hunt for longer than any of us could name. A creature older than the stories whispered in the dark, old as the hunt itself. It had no name in our tongues, only the weight of its presence in our blood, passed down like an heirloom, inherited in scars and hushed warnings. It had taken our kin before, long before my time, and it would take them again, unless we ended it. A ripple passed through the hunt, muscles coiled, grips tightened around weapons that had felled countless prey. But this was different. There was no triumph waiting at the end of this chase, no spoils, only a reckoning. The humans of the front rooms speak of cryptids, Bigfoot, the Jersey Devil, feeble comparisons to this titan of the hunt. Others claim that it is something ancient, beyond reckoning, a specter of winter's heart, a being that has watched the grove's every turn of the cycle, unseen yet ever present. The wind stirred, carrying with it the scent of frost-laced fur, the sharp tang of something primal, something untouched by time. My fingers tightened around my spear's haft. A slow ripple passed through the hunt as we braced ourselves, muscles coiling in readiness. Then, movement. Antlers like jagged, ice-slicked spires crowned its elongated skull. Black eyes swallowed the auroras above, turning their glow into something cold, something distant. Breath curled from its maw, mist over a graveyard. It watched us, not with defiance, but not with threat, just recognition. It did not flee, it did not threaten, it simply watched. One of my kin struck first. A spear, swift and true, cutting through the frozen stillness like a silver comet. The blade found its mark, sinking deep into the beast's flesh. Yet the great prey did not flinch, it did not recoil. No cry of pain, no sign of acknowledgement, as if the wound, the weapon, and even the act itself were too insignificant to matter. Instead, it exhaled, a slow, deliberate breath that hung in the frozen air like a whispered omen. The night itself seemed to pause, waiting, listening. Then, with the effortless grace of something untouched by time, it stepped backward, retreating into the abyss of the trees. Shadows swallowed its form, and in an instant it was gone, a wraith dissolving into the veil, a ghost slipping beyond the reach of the living. And with that, the hunt began. With a subtle shift of my spear, I signaled the advance. My kin followed, gliding soundlessly over the frost-bitten ground, our movements honed over centuries of perfecting the chase. The auroras above flickered wildly now, as if agitated by our purpose. Shadows twisted in the trees, shifting like living things, breathing in the presence of something that had not been pursued in an age. The trail it left behind was not one of blood or spoor, but of remains, skeletons of men, stripped so clean they bore neither meat nor marrow, as if time itself had forgotten they once lived. Even the ground was bare where they fell, devoid of stain or decay. The trees bled into corridors of endless night, and the senses of my kin wavered. "The shadow on the left," one of my hunters called. "No, the one on the right," another hissed. A growl slithered through the darkness. Arrows flared like falling stars, vanishing into the void between the trees. And then it emerged, unscathed, almost smiling, a beast of legend, fully aware of the effects of its presence. It moved, not with the motion of mere flesh and sinew, but like an absence of time itself, a blur, a flicker. Before the mind could grasp its form, one of my kin was gone. A strangled cry, silenced before it could fully leave his throat. A flick of motion, a shadow recoiling into deeper darkness. And then the antlers, cast back toward us, still slick, the last remnant of the hunter it had taken. This was no chase. This was a culling. Something shifted in the air, a change in the rhythm of the hunt, in the unspoken pulse that bound us together. This was not the hunt as it was meant to be. This was us, being hunted. A blur in the void, and another of my kin vanished. A head, picked so clean it gleamed like polished ivory, tumbled across the frost. No sinew, no scrap of flesh, not even bone dust clung to its surface, eaten beyond death itself. And so we understood. We had not come to claim a prize. We had come to wage war. The realization settled upon us like the weight of a sky collapsing. The hunt, our hunt, was unraveling, not with the fury of battle, but with the slow, inexorable certainty of something far older than us, something that had seen hunters before and had learned how to break them. The air was thick with something unseen, something gnawing at the edges of the mind, slithering through the marrow like a whispered certainty. We were the hunt. We were meant to be the wolves, the tide that shaped the world, the challengers that spurred on our quarry to rise. My fingers tightened around my spear, but the familiar weight of it no longer reassured me. The blade had tasted man's flesh, apparently, and yet the comfort it brought me in my hunts dissipated. Yet, when the beast moved, slipping between the trees like a shadow unbound from its source, I felt it again, a sensation I had not known in lifetimes. A presence had been at my side, my kin, steady, breathing, real, and then, in the space between one breath and the next, gone. No cry, no struggle, no trace. My breath hitched as I turned my gaze to a snapping sound. The skull, his skull. Something deep within me stirred. Fight, fight, fight! But another instinct, long buried, clawed its way to the surface. A voice I had never heeded. One that knew when the tide had turned, that knew when the predator had become the prey. The others felt it too. I saw it in the flicker of their eyes, in the way their stances shifted. The hunt was not yet broken, but cracks had formed beneath the surface. I forced my grip to steady, forced the fear into something I could wield. A fire, fragile but burning still. A single breath, that was all I allowed myself. A sharp inhale, just enough to steady the frantic hammering of my heart and wrestle my mind from the primal fear creeping into my bones. The fear was insidious, slithering beneath my skin, whispering things I dared not name. The hunt had never faltered before, not in the face of men, nor in the presence of the unnatural things that lurked within the backrooms. We were the storm, the wolves in the dark, the force that drove prey to ruin. But now we stood at the edge of something ancient, something vast and unknowable, and we understood the truth. The roles had shifted, but we were not broken, not yet. I clenched my teeth, forcing my breath into something steadier, something controlled. The others looked to me now, kin who had fought at my side through countless cycles, whose names had been carried on by the echoes of the hunt. But in their eyes I saw it, the cracks, the doubt, the realization that we had misjudged our prey, and that it had cost us dearly. For the first time, I understood why men feared the wild hunt, because now I felt that same fear. It struck again, a ripple of movement, too swift to track, too fluid to comprehend. Another of my kin wrenched into the void, their strangled cry stolen before it could fully form. The brittle snap of bone echoed in the silence. A heartbeat later, their spear clattered to the frost-laced earth, the final proof that they had ever stood beside me. We turned sharply, weapons raised, eyes scanning every shifting shadow, every phantom flicker in the dark, but the beast had already vanished. We were dwindling. Another blur, another taken. A snarl ripped from my throat as I drove my spear forward, but I struck nothing. Only cold, empty air. The beast was toying with us. It had never needed to flee. The voice, sharp with panic, rang out. Then silence. One by one, they vanished. The rhythm of the hunt, once unshakable, crumbled beneath my feet. I felt the void widening, the tether between us unraveling thread by thread. I turned just in time to see the last of my kin dragged into the black. His fingers clawed at the frozen ground, leaving deep furrows in the frost. His eyes met mine, and in them I saw not just pain, but acceptance, the grim certainty of the doomed. Then he was gone. The glade was empty. No sound but my breath, no movement but the slow fall of snow settling over the remnants of the hunt. Alone, a growl rumbled deep in my chest, not of fury, but defiance. The great prey had shattered our rhythm, turned our precision into desperate reaction, twisted the hunt into something else. It had plucked my kin from the world like brittle leaves in the wind, each falling without a sound, without a struggle. But I would not allow it to take more. The wind carried the scent of frozen fur and bloodless bone, a whisper of the thing that lurked just beyond sight. It was toying with us, a game, a lesson. Enough. I raised my spear, the signal given with a sharp flick of my wrist. I scattered through the glade, weaving between gnarled trees and corridors of shifting dark, forcing the beast to choose a path, to commit to movement. I will finish it so that we would no longer be its still and waiting victims. I would not yield. Each step was measured, my every motion honed by centuries of pursuit. The great prey had unraveled the hunt, but it had not broken me. The glade stretched before me, a world of frost and twisted branches, each one casting jagged scars of black against the unnatural light above. The aurora cast over my head, shining brilliantly, as if it knew this was the end. They cast no warmth, only cold illumination, a mockery of the fire that once burned in my forces' hearts. The silence pressed in, thick as the frost that clung to the trees. I stood alone in the hollowed remains of the hunt, the snow beneath me marked only by fading traces of my kin. My breath curled in the air, slow and steady now, my grip firm around my spear. The beast had taken everything but me. The hunt wasn't over, not yet. A shift in the air, subtle, deliberate, still here. Then, motion, a flicker at the edge of my sight. I lunged, my spear carving through the space where it had been, where it should have been. But the beast did not move like flesh and sinew. It twisted with the ease of something that had never known hesitation. A blur, a rush of air. I pivoted just in time to feel the wind of its strike pass inches from my skull. Too close. I dropped low, rolling across the frost-laced ground as the beast's antlers carved through the space where my torso had been. Snow erupted around me as I came up, my stance solid, my spear leveled. The predator had acknowledged me. It was no longer a culling or a game. This was a fight. The beast's black eyes locked onto mine, deep as the abyss, cold as the wind that howled through the endless corridors of the Backrooms. It exhaled, slow and deliberate, mist curling from its maw. Then it lunged. The ground shuddered beneath me as the beast prowled forward, its breath curling in the frozen air, slow and steady, unrushed. It knew. My fingers tightened around my spear, but the wood felt foreign, slick with frost and sweat. My lungs burned, my chest heaving too fast, too shallow. I willed them to slow, but my body refused to listen. My pulse hammered against my ribs, pounding at the insides of my skull like a war drum played out of rhythm. A shadow flickered, too fast. I twisted, barely in time, and the wind howled as claws carved through empty air where my throat had been. My feet stumbled over frost-laced roots, and I slammed my heel down to stop from falling. It raked at me. I ducked. A shadow loomed. I turned into it. I pivoted, felt the wind of its strike graze my skull. It loomed. I struck. The blade met flesh, then bone. A crack. A hot rush of blood. I staggered back. My chest heaved. My vision swam. I stood in the empty glade, my spear still raised, fingers still curled in a death grip, my body locked in place, waiting. The wind howled, the trees stood still. Then, at my feet, the beast's head lay in the snow. That was it? After the centuries of whispered dread, after the fear carved into our bones like runes etched into stone, was it over that quick? A single mistake, a single opening, and it was dead. My knees threatened to buckle, but I forced myself upright. I had won. The hunt had won. Hadn't we? The ghosts of my kin had been at my back, the generations before them, the hunts that had ended in silence, in death, in stories whispered through bloodlines that should have lived longer. They had not been fast enough. They had not been lucky enough. I looked down at the severed head, expecting it to move, expecting the nightmare to stretch on just a little longer, but it did not. The only thing that remained were the pile of bodies left in its wake, and its corpse. It was over, truly over. It had never been just me. It had been all of us. Once more, the indomitable spirit of the hunt continues, and will for ages to come. End of first related tale. A friend. Link to second related tale, Only a Mirror. BNTG, those who control trade, control the world. Part 1. I'm going to have to go back, aren't I? How am I possibly going to go back? Even if you forgave me, which you won't, how would I make you understand? None of you will want to listen. I woke up this morning, with the wind on my face, a beam of bright sunlight falling through the open window on my eyelids. There was the faintest scent of autumn leaves on the air, not quite like real autumn. The wet earth smell, that wasn't there, no matter how much I tried to sense it. But just for a moment, there was a hint of leaves, and I loved it. It brought all my childhood memories back, of walking to school in the fall, even as it sent wave after wave of aching through me. Stop and appreciate that. I've been outside reality for 9 years, and 6 of those were spent working for you. 6 years of smelling dust, moldering drywall, damp concrete, and synthetic carpets. 6 years cramped up in the dark without real sun, without real sky, without the colors and smells of the seasons, and then to finally have something close to it again and really appreciate just how valuable it is. How could I keep working with you when all you'll see is an asset? I can't go back. You can't be, de-educated, re-ignorant, short of a brain injury anyways. Knowing things is a one-way trip. I won't ever be the same, now that I've lived here, and talked to him. You'll want my report, 'cause that's what we do, right? We share everything we find. And I'm genuinely afraid of what will happen if I tell you about this level. I'm genuinely afraid of what you'll try to do to this place, in the name of controlling the world. You think I'm dead. You think the Wild Hunt are enemies. Honestly, it would be so much better to just keep things that way. What the fuck am I going to do? No image caption available. From robbie.command.4@bntg.backmail.lost. From jim.coordinator@bntg.backmail.lost. Subject: urgent. Operation suspension. Hey Jim, you might want to take a look at this. It concerns level 398. Do you remember our girl who went missing in 807, Polluted Wasteland, 2 years ago, from Jason's team? Guess what? She's still alive. We sent Aaron's team out to 398 last week to begin the initial assessments like you asked, and they brought back this, the contents of the .zip attached here. It's 2 years' worth of voice recordings and field notes from none other than our own Alicia B., MIA. She's been living in level 398 this whole time. I immediately confiscated the materials for safekeeping upon Aaron's return. No one currently has access to them, except for me and Carlos. We've been going through it all. Jim, it's absolutely imperative that you read this stuff before we make any further decisions on 398. We have no idea what we're dealing with here. We've halted all operations in the level for now, until we can properly reassess the situation. Also, we have a defector on our hands. Alicia's been keeping this information from us on purpose. Please read the attached files. New password. It's not everything, but for the sake of time, I threw in what's most relevant. Let me know when you get through this. We need to discuss how to proceed. Robbie, Operations Commander, Depot 4, BNTG, Attachments, Alicia398.zip, audio_log_1.mp3, audio_log_2.mp3, audio_log_7.mp3, journal_1.txt, and audio_log_10.mp3. Accessing audio_log_1.mp3. BNTG, those who control trade, control the world. Only a mirror. Part 1. Audio log 1-2022-09-17. Scout. Jason? Hello? Scout. This is Alicia. TG Scout. Jason, come in. Scout. I repeat, this is Alicia. TG Scout. Jason, come in. Static. Scout. Shit. Scout. Jason, this is Alicia. TG Scout. I think I no-clipped. I don't know where I am, but it's definitely not level 807 anymore. There's different trees, and lots of grass. It's a sunny forest, but everything's alive, and the light is wrong. Static. Scout. Jason, can you hear me? I repeat, I think I no-clipped. No visual on our scouting party. I'm in a different forest level, and I don't recognize it. Static. Scout. Jason, if you can hear me, please radio ahead to the collection outpost, and have them check the GPD. I don't recognize my surroundings. It looks like a summer forest. There's a mix of evergreens and leafy trees. There's tangled underbrush, like brambles, maybe? The light is golden, maybe like 5 p.m., early evening. I'm taking a closer look at those brambles. Oh, berries. It looks like I'm in a blackberry thicket. Can you please check that against the database? Static. Scout. This is Alicia, TG Scout. If anyone can hear me, I'm separated, in an unknown location, requesting a database check. I may have discovered a new level. Static. Scout. Jason, come in! Scout. Okay, if anyone can hear me, I'm not hearing you. I'm going to mark my entrance and take a look around. Please keep trying to talk to me. I'll try different channels and let you know if a signal gets through. Radio click. Scout. Fuck. Shit. Fucking fuck! Heavy breathing. Scout. No, that's not how we do this. Calm down. Calm down. Metal water bottle being opened. Swallowing sounds. End of recording. Audio log 2-2022-09-17. Scout. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Scout. Alright, if you're listening to this, I sure as hell hope I'm not dead. Scout. Okay, this is Alicia Bourbonnais, BNTG Resource Material Scout, Depot 4. On September 16th, 2022, 8 a.m. Meg Standard Time, I departed from Depot 4 with a party of 6 under the command of Scout Leader Jason Greer. Our mission was to access Level 807 by way of Level 182, aromatherapy, on Route 25. We were to provide emergency supplies and temporary backup to Collection Outpost 807 in the aftermath of 3 successive attacks by the UEC. At around 3 p.m. today, my party and I were trekking through Level 807, polluted wasteland, en route to the outpost. I climbed over a collapsed pile of branches and spontaneously no-clipped into what appears to be an undocumented level. I don't know if any other members of my party experienced the same clip. If they did, I don't know where they ended up, because I seemed to be alone. Immediately after clipping, I tried to establish radio contact with my team, and failed. As we speak, I've been in this new level for about 20 minutes, and haven't received any transmissions. So, as per protocol, I'm going to explore outwards from my entrance point, and record as much as I can. I'm also going to attempt to map the route I take. If you found my body, that'll be in the notebook in my right side chest pouch. But, yeah, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Faint wind sounds, leaves ruffling. Scout. So, to start with, I'll describe where I've entered. I'm in what looks like a grassy glade, in a mixed forest in summertime. It's sunny, like the end of afternoon, and there's a warm breeze. It's hot here, about 25 degrees Celsius, maybe, and humid. I'm estimating the glade is about 20 feet long, and it's roughly oval-shaped. It's filled with grass about knee-high, and it's very green. There are also wildflowers, mostly white and yellow. I'm seeing, well, I can't tell for sure where I'm standing, but the trees look like front room species. There are evergreens, maybe pines, and also leafy trees. They're tall. The forest is rising up at least 20 feet all around the clearing. There are smaller bushes in the clearing, though. They're all messy and covered in thorns. They look like blackberries, as far as I can tell. There's lots of them. They're chock full. It's weird. I'm realizing how there's no smell here. Maybe just, it's like I can almost smell pines, or that summer humid smell. But it's very faint. It's hard to tell if I'm imagining it. There are sounds, though. I can hear the breeze rustling the leaves and grass. That's it so far. No insects, no birds. I haven't seen any entities or animal life since I arrived. Signs of hostile entities and malignant phenomena negative. In the grass to my left, there's a large boulder poking out. It's hard to describe. Kind of just a hump and maybe 2 feet across. I'm bunching up some grass stalks behind it, and tying it with my red tape. That'll be my entrance marker. From here on in, I'll be flagging my path with orange. Audio break. Scout. First things first, food source. I'm going to investigate these blackberries. I'm no expert, but they look completely normal to me. Conducting a proximity test. Crunching grass. Footsteps. Scout. Okay, no detectable effects within bodily or manual range. Touch test negative. It feels like a normal plant. Attempting to remove a berry. Rustling foliage. Scout. No harmful effects, physical or psycho-emotional. It looks and feels like you'd expect. The only possible anomaly is the lack of smell, like I noted earlier. Okay, universal edibility test. 'Cause I'm already lost, right? I'll take one for the team and see if you can eat these, in case some other poor bastard follows me in here. While I'm waiting for a skin reaction, I'm going to get a closer look at the trees. Audio break. Scout. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. No major changes in the environment. No reaction from the berry, either, which is good. I drank some almond water when I got here, though, so I'll have to wait before eating it, stashing it in my pocket for now. I'm at the edge of the clearing. Walking over here, the grass looks oddly uniform. The flowers, too. Like, everything is a clone of itself. And everything looks really fresh, is a good way to put it. In its prime, like someone just watered it. The trees also look healthy. Now that I'm closer, I don't think they're front room's trees. I don't know about the needle ones, but the trees with leaves definitely aren't something I recognize. They're like if every kind of leaf shape were put together, somehow. I can't describe it, so I've attempted to sketch it out. I did another proximity test on a leafy tree. Again, no results. Everything felt normal. Looking through the trees, the forest is pretty dense. But I think it's passable. It's not too dark. There's a lot of golden light slanting through the leaves. I will say, there's a ton of timber here. Stone and plant fiber, too. And a possible food source, results pending. Assuming I can make it out of here and nothing weird kills me, this level could be an excellent resource asset. Maybe even a habitable zone. Grass crunching. Scout. Shit! End of recording. Audio log 7-2022-09-22. Recording captures 37 minutes of swishing foliage, crunching footsteps, breaking twigs, and general sounds of walking through underbrush. Occasionally, indistinct voices can be heard, conversing in an unknown language. Timestamp 00:29:34. Heavy breathing. Scout. Out of breath. How far did you say it was again? Unknown voice. Indistinct. 2 weeks of center. Scout. And what's unknown voice? Indistinct. Please. Must be silent. Lately, hounds and other in this area. Scout. Are there hounds here? Unknown voice. Indistinct. Sometimes they find their way. And other hive spawn. Fear. We will keep you safe. We are rangers of summer. But please, silence. Heavy breathing. Cracking twigs. Journal entry. September 24th, 2022. Things have taken a turn for the unexpected. I'm going to switch to the notebook for the bulk of my documentation. I want to save the recorder battery, for whatever might be coming. My substantial log was 7 days ago, on September 17th. I need to fill in what's happened between now and then. I was surveying the forest in the clearing where I arrived when I caught a movement in the trees, something big. I dropped on my belly in the grass, right as something came out of the forest about 10 feet from where I was standing. It was an entity, humanoid, wearing some kind of leather armor, decked out with a bow and huge knife on its hip. But it had a cat head, a lynx maybe, and it had long hair made out of moss. It was all tangled and hanging off its head, although its fur, too, like it, had been curled up in a damp place for too long. Greenish, stringy. I was sure it saw me. I didn't think I'd hidden in time, so I jumped up, grabbed my bat, and got ready to run. But I was surprised. The ears shot up. It stared at me, and then said, in perfectly clear English, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you. How long have you been waiting here? Have you been welcomed yet?" I stood there like an idiot, with my mouth open. It could have killed me. But it didn't. It shouted into the trees, a sound like a house cat screaming, and 2 other entities came out. One of them was some kind of lizard person, and the other one was... It was like someone made a person out of a waterfall, a bunch of walking rocks with water pouring around them. Mosscat shouted, "A human survivor! We have a new guest! A new guest! Go and tell the master." The lizard dropped to all fours and shot off right away, into the trees. Then the other 2 were walking towards me, fast. I tried to run. I turned and bolted through the grass, like a bunny rabbit. But it was too tall and dense. I tripped, right onto my face. Next thing I knew, there were hands grabbing me. Hands that weren't human. Mosscat and Waterfall dragged me up by the arms. I screamed. I'd forgotten what it was like to scream like that. No stops. I really thought I was about to die. That the knife was about to plunge through my back, or I'd be ripped apart by teeth. Something I couldn't think of. I struggled and twisted, but they gripped me like a vice. Then, "Please calm yourself. We mean no harm." The voice sounded like rocks being poured down a drain. Waterfall. I heard it, but didn't really comprehend. It took me a good 5 minutes to stop panicking and realize I was still alive. I finally got my head back. I was standing in the clearing, with the 2 entities holding me up on either side. Mosscat looked me in the face. It had yellow slit eyes. There was something strange about its stare. It felt like a human expression. I could swear there was curiosity in its green, matted face, and maybe wonder? It put a big, shaggy paw on my pounding heart. I could feel the weight, and the warmth of it. The power. There were definitely claws in there. I was shitting bricks. It said, "We understand that we may frighten you, but no harm will come to you in our homeland. Any human who manages to enter here is an honored guest. You have proven to us your vigor and your skill." Its voice was weird, reedy. I couldn't think of anything to say to that, so it kept going. "You have been wandering, have you not? You must be weary. We will take you to our master. He will provide you with food and drink, and a safe place to rest. Please, won't you come with us? It would be an honor to host you properly." I suppose I should have tried to escape. It could have easily been a trick. Lure a lost wanderer with promises, then butcher them. But I think somehow I understood it was pointless. Those things would catch me easily if I tried to run again. My legs had turned to jelly. Maybe it was safer to cooperate and try to slip away later if things got suspicious. I would keep the recorder on in case they tried something. There'd be audio evidence of my death. God help me. I agreed to follow the entities into the forest. Now it's been a week. I'm still alive, which is fortunate, but I don't know what the hell I've gotten myself into. We've been walking for 7 days, through a forest that doesn't seem to end. Those things have endless stamina. It's hot and humid, and the brush and brambles keep catching on everything, but somehow they just slide through it. Me, not so much. It's like the bushwhacking I used to do, along the railway when I was a teenager. At one point, I tripped and got a stick straight up my nose. I'm exhausted. My almond water's nearly out. Mosscat keeps leaning over and lapping at the water running down Waterfall's limbs. I don't want to do that. The forest is very much like the clearing I arrived in. It's quiet, breezy, sunny, with the same trees and plants repeated over and over. Soft, mulchy, earth, full of fallen leaves and needles, streaks of light coming from the canopy with dancing dust motes, but no smells, no other creatures besides us. If it weren't for the entities, it wouldn't feel much different than an empty indoor level. It's eerie, lonely even. Nice looking from far away, but a dead imitation. It makes me feel disappointed. I'm not sure why. The entities have been evasive. I've tried getting answers out of them, information on who or what they are, but they prefer to walk in silence. All I've gotten is that they're summer people and rangers of summer, and they keep saying they're taking me to the center, where all this promised food and shelter will be. Apparently, it's a 2-week journey on foot from where they found me. It could mean anything at this point. It could still be a lie. But after 7 days, they haven't hurt me, and I really don't know what else to do but follow them. I've been trying the radio, on and off, every couple hours, choosing a different channel. I've cycled through all of them several times now, and it's starting to feel futile. I don't think anyone's going to reach me here, and there's no real incentive at this point to risk striking out alone. On the first night of traveling, we walked until the light started to fade. Turns out, there is a light cycle here. It feels longer than a normal day, but there is a sunset, a night, and a dawn. The entities kept me in between them the whole time we walked, Mosscat in front, Waterfall in the rear. I could hear the trickles behind me. I kept looking for an opportunity to bolt, but they were too close to me, and the brush was too dense. Maybe they knew what I was thinking. By the time the sun started to set, I realized I'd have no hope of escaping in the dark. Even if running off at night in an unknown level wasn't a total death wish, there were too many brambles, and the cat probably had night vision. I had no choice but to camp. The entities found a relatively clear patch of ground, gathered up some deadwood, and lit a fire. I don't know how. They didn't use matches or anything. They just breathed on it, and it started smoldering. I didn't ask questions. The fire smoked and crackled, but I couldn't smell it, and I couldn't tell if there was heat coming from it either. The night air was still warm. Waterfall plunked down like a wet rock pile and said, "You've walked a long way in the summer heat. If you are thirsty, please, drink. I am a source." I said, thank you, but I still have my canteen. No need yet. I was trying to play along and be polite. I didn't want to get that close to an unknown entity, and definitely didn't want to lick it. Then Kat chimed in, something like, "You must be hungry then. When was the last time you ate? We know how little food there is beyond our borders. We have seen your kind starve. Please, whatever it is you desire, we will bring it to you. This place is bountiful." I had a hard time believing that, given the monotonous and empty forest. I couldn't answer. I was just sitting there with my knees to my chest, shaking. I still expected that at any moment I'd be killed. In hindsight, it was pretty obvious that I was still scared shitless, and I didn't trust my new escort at all. Then Mosscat got up, looked at me, and walked off into the dark, outside the firelight. I heard rustling. A minute later, it came back with both paws cupped, holding something dark and shiny. Blackberries. It walked up to me. I held my breath, and it put them on the ground in front of me, without a word. Then I went back to the other side of the fire, leaned against Waterfall, and started gnawing on a stick. I felt a little ashamed. Maybe that was the point. Clearly Mosscat was trying to demonstrate some goodwill to whatever end, but I was hungry. If I was going to reach our destination, or escape, however things played out, I'd need to be fed, and I hadn't eaten the berry from earlier. I never finished the test. It had been over 8 hours since I'd had anything, so this was it. I took a berry, put it on my lips, and waited 3 minutes. Nothing happened, so I popped it in my mouth and waited again for 15. Must have been something to watch. Cat probably thought I was utterly paranoid, but the berry was still good, so I finally took a bite of it and chewed it up. It's hard to... Man, I've tried to come up with words for what happened, but nothing really does it justice. It's like it exploded in my mouth from just that one nibble. It was the richest, most overwhelming taste of blackberry that I've ever had. Something stronger than what my brain was meant to process. And it brought back a memory. Something I hadn't thought of in a long time. Sitting in the backyard garden in the summer. As a very young child, my mother hanging up laundry behind me, white sheets flapping, and eating berries. There was a feral patch beside our fence, and just like that, it disappeared. The whole experience was packed into 3 seconds, maybe, and then the berry was tasteless. Unfortunately, the effect shocked me so much that I swallowed, so the test was botched, and that put me right back on the edge of panic, because maybe I just poisoned myself. Maybe that was the entity's plan all along. I was wildly trying to figure out how to make myself vomit when Kat saw me freaking out and said, "We mean you no harm. Our food is good. You have our promise." I popped the whole thing. Between being on the verge of tears, thinking death was imminent, and being horribly, horribly hungry, I just went and ate the berry, and then another, and another, then the whole pile, then curled up on the ground to rest or die, whichever it would be. It was strangely filling, though, for just a handful of berries. Tasteless, but filling. I hadn't felt that full after eating in a long, long time. Not since I entered the Backrooms. I meant to stay awake through the night, close my eyes to slits and pretend to sleep, to see if the entities would do anything. But the full stomach and fear exhaustion got to me. I woke up the next morning to see the dead remains of the fire, and Cat and Waterfall sprawled out on the ground next to it. I was still alive. More than that, I felt like I'd slept extremely well. I actually had some energy. When they woke, not long after me, I apologized to Mosscat and thanked it for the food. All it said was, "We would not poison a guest. Your fear is natural, but you can trust us." That day was pretty much the same, and the next, and the next. We walked through the forest all day, watching the slow change in light through the canopy. Then, at sunset, the entities make a fire, and Mosscat brings me a handful of berries. That first experience, that burst of flavor, hasn't come back, but I haven't gotten sick either. It does indeed seem to be a safe source of food. The entities themselves don't seem to eat much. I've watched Mosscat chew on sticks and eat a handful of dead leaves. Waterfall hasn't eaten anything at all since we set out. One night, though, the 21st, I think they started telling stories. Mosscat pulled the stick out of its mouth and said something to Waterfall in a weird, hissy sort of language I couldn't understand. And then it was like they came to life. Animated, excited, making cat and rock noises back and forth, waving their arms and gesticulating. It was like listening to animals in a forest. A really living forest, with a river trickling through. That was a total assumption. I don't know why I thought it was a story. My eyes are drooping shut. It's warm, and the forest floor is soft. I need to sleep. No doubt. We'll be walking all day tomorrow. Remaining files. audio_log_10.mp3. audio_log_11.mp3. audio_log_12.mpg. journal_2.txt. Opening audio_log_10.mp3. BNTG. Those who control trade, control the world. Only a Mirror. Part 1. Audio log 10-2022-10-01. Crunching twigs, swishing leaves, sounds of walking through brush. Voice 1. Distant. We are nearly there. The pavilion. Scout. Pavilion? What's that? Voice 1. Distant. The center. The hub of the turning wheel, where all seasons meet. Scout. Okay. What does that mean? Voice 1. Distant. You do not need to worry. Different seasons mingle, as do worlds. You are welcome to join. Footsteps. Wind sounds. Voice 2. It is our marketplace, where those who live here meet and gather. Scout. Oh, I see. Voice 2. Speaking in an unknown language. Voice 1. Speaking in an unknown language. Voice 1. Forgive me, human. I have not explained it well. End of recording. Audio log 11-2022-10-01. Footsteps. Shuffling. Murmur of a distant crowd. Voice 1. Feline screeching noise. A guest! A human guest! Brethren, gather in and welcome them! We have a human guest! Mixed noises from a large crowd. Some human-like gasps and cries, various animal calls, other sounds, flames, crackling, grinding, shuffling, rustling. Noises get louder. Voice 1. A human has found their way to us. Another one has bested the path to the grove. They found their way to summertime. Mixed voices and noises. Cheering, talking, shouting. Scout. Hey. Hello. Yes. Hello, everyone. Voice 1. Summer people. All of you, summer people, come here. Come forward and greet our guest. Scout. Hey, sorry. Hello. Yes. Voice. Summer people. Are you greedy? Do you mean to hoard them for yourselves? Voice. All seasons are one. The grove is our shared domain. Surely you do not think the gifts of a single season are enough? Voice. Yes. How will she see the rainbow of the first buds open, or bask in the warming grasses? You cannot garland her with flowers. Voice. And we are the harvest. What can any of you offer, besides every nourishing gift we cultivate from the earth? We will give the feast her frightened, fragile belly longs for. Voice. What of 1,000 stories told by firelight, ages upon ages of knowledge, unearthed from the sinking leaves? Voice. What of 1,000 stories told by firelight, ages upon ages of knowledge, unearthed from the sinking leaves? Voice. The warmest of furs and hearths, the magic of gathering with friends, sheltering from the storm. Voice. We'll see that she rests more deeply and peacefully than the roots of the tallest tree in the deepest snow. Voice 1. Hey now, she was found in the summer quarter, so the Lord of Summer will be her host. Do you deny our hospitality? Do you insult life and sunlight? You speak as though the whispering leaves are worthless. Deep voice. Enough! The crowd dies away into silence, quickly. Deep gust. What is this senseless bickering? Have you forgotten yourselves? This is no way to welcome a guest. Silence. Deep voice. I was told that rangers found a human wandering alone in the summer forest. Is this true? Voice 1. Yes, master. They're here. We brought them safely back with us. Deep voice. Let them come forward. Crowd shuffling, murmuring. Footsteps. Heavy breathing. Soft wind sounds. Deep voice. Welcome, human. Do you know where you are? Scout. No. Deep voice. This is the Grove, domain of the Four Seasons, and the Wild Hunt. Few humans find their way to this place, for the path is treacherous. Those who do, we hold in high esteem. Silence. Deep voice. Tell us, what do you do? Scout. Me? I'm a resource and materials scout for the BNTG, the Backrooms Non-Aligned Trade Group. Deep voice. And what does that mean? Scout. Well, I search for things that we can use to help people survive in all these different levels. Food, clothing, weapons, things for building shelter. We collect things and trade them with others. Deep voice. Aha! So you are a gatherer. That is a fine calling, one of equal esteem that has stood beside hunters for millennia. It takes courage and a sharp eye to collect the things provided to us, and a strong heart to take and share them fairly, without sliding down the path of greed. Silence. Scout. I'm sorry, but I don't really understand why I'm here. Who are you? Deep voice. I am the monarch of the House of Summer, and leader of the Wild Hunt. I am known to your kind as Hearn, the Huntmaster. You may address me as such, for, as my guest, you are my equal. Silence. Deep voice. Quietly. You are tired, aren't you? You have wandered a long way, and you are very far from home. Scout. Quietly. Yes. Deep voice. Quietly. Then you are welcome to rest in my house. I have shared it, personally, with every human to pass this way. You will be provided for and allowed to rest, undisturbed, for as long as you may need. The others will not harm you or bother you. All that is required, in return, is that you respect our customs in this place. Will you accept? Scout. Yes, I do. Deep voice, announcing. The human will share the House of Summer, as is tradition, but I assure you that in time, every season will be welcome to meet our guest. None will be excluded. We will allow them to recover from their travels, as hospitality demands. But, in the meantime, go and celebrate, roar and dance, and sing our joy into the realms, for a maker is among us once again. Wild cheering. Audio clipping. Deep voice. Come, follow me. End of recording. Audio log 12-2022-10-01. Footsteps crunching on fallen leaves. Trees rustling. Hearn. While you are guest of the Grove, you will need a title to be called by. You should not offer your name to me or any of the others. That is a trade of the highest value. It requires something great in exchange, and some may be affronted by your asking. Scout. Okay. Hearn. I have told you to call me Hearn, for that which I do. Likewise, you will be Scout, unless you prefer a different title. Scout. No, Scout's fine. I'm afraid I'm confused. How is your name what you do? Hearn. Hearn is not my name. Hearn the Deer Man, the Huntmaster. That is what you made me. And being what you made me is what I do. My true name, in the sense that you understand, is beyond you. Scout. So, you're a deer man? But you're not one. Hearn. If a man looks in a mirror, and his reflection appears on the surface, does that make the mirror a man? Silence. Hearn. I am only a mirror, child. End of recording. Journal entry, October 1st, 2022. The Wild Hunt. Holy shit, I'm surrounded by the Wild Hunt. I was just personally introduced to POI number 18. I was 5 feet from him. I have also seen the most spectacular place, and a collection of severed limbs. It's a lot. A lot of things are happening. I'm having a lot of very different, strong feelings to manage all at once. I need to get them all in order. When Catman and Rockpile finally led me out of the woods to the pavilion they kept telling me about, I didn't understand what I was seeing at first, because there was still that slanting canopy light overhead,
and the ground was still covered with leaves. But the trees were gone. It was like a weird bubble of space in the woods. And then I realized we were still under a tree. One giant tree. We walked out into an enormous circular clearing, a cobbled ring of mossy paving stones, half buried in decomposing leaves. And rising from the center of the ring was the base of the most monstrous, magnificent tree I've ever seen, easily 15 feet wide at the trunk. Millions of branches winding through the air over our heads like a cathedral ceiling made of vines. Looking up, the canopy soared so high that parts of it were fading into mist. And it changed. The leaves of the tree were different colors in different places. It looked like it was divided into 4 radial sections, like a pinwheel. The segment we stood under was green, lit by the sunlight sparkling through, but to the left, the tree ceiling was all oranges, reds, and yellows, like fall. To the right, it was a mass of pinkish-white flowers, like froth or clouds. Petals and leaves were falling down, like gentle rain over the paved ring that ran below them. And behind the trunk, I could see a little of the 4th section, which seemed to have bare branches. The whole place was so huge that it was hard to see things far away, but I thought I made out clumps of snow. It took my breath away. I instantly realized that this was the sort of thing you can't describe to anyone. You have to see it for yourself, and even looking at it for real might not be enough, because it's too much to take in. But there was more. Still, the base of the tree was a small mountain, made from twisting, tangled roots, and nestled everywhere in the roots were hundreds of tents and buildings. It's a market, an enormous, sprawling market, with thousands of entities. It looked like the base of the tree was swarming with bees. Sure enough, we walked straight towards it. It took us almost 5 full minutes to walk across the ring and get to the center, where the roots touched down. When we did, we could see how big they really were. Some were thicker than the length of a bus. The entities were using them as causeways, like a network of winding streets. My escort stopped in front of a huge root that plunged into the cobblestones. It had steps shaped into the bark. It seemed like a significant place. Off to the side, there was this large, circular stone platform, like a raised stage on cobbles. It was tucked in a fork between the staircase and another huge root of equal size. It was strung overhead with garlands of leaves and flowers, and maybe bones also. There was an empty doorframe, made of twisted branches, standing in the middle of it. I thought maybe we were waiting for someone on the platform, or that we were going to climb up into the root city, which was daunting, considering I'd just walked for 15 days. My legs are still killing me. But then, Mosscat started shouting for the other entities to come down. Just like that, there were hundreds of entities rushing down the root stairs, straight towards us, and very quickly, we were surrounded. It's impossible to catalog the entities, because they were all so different. But they were like the 2 escorting me, some combination of human, animal, and earth parts, all jumbled together. I saw animal heads of every kind, things made of fire and grass and bone, a human head on an insect, 5 different creatures stuck together, a metallic bird kid, a fish woman sprouting plants down her back, a walking fungus wearing leather pants. I can't list them all. The crowd was an utter chaos of colors and materials and voices. So many different voices, all chanting and calling in sounds I couldn't understand. But they did, in fact, seem to have one thing in common, which was the desire to get close to me. They were all pushing forward and reaching, trying to get a look at me and touch me. At least 100 different hands and claws and paws grabbed my jacket. It took everything I had in me to stay calm. I think they started fighting over me. It was hard to hear the conversation, but Mosscat got in a heated exchange with some others in the crowd. Something about hosting me, and whose gifts were better. Never mind that they were arguing in English, because that makes perfect sense. But the squabble didn't last long, because suddenly this voice just cut through the crowd. Everyone instantly shut up, and POI number 18 walked through the doorframe, onto the platform, out of nowhere. So, POI number 18. Note, see person of interest, Hearn the Huntmaster. Has anyone from our group actually encountered this entity, or is it just the Meggies? I'm wondering if I'm the first trader to meet him. If I am, a few points. He's impressive, he's a sight to behold, and he is absolutely, utterly terrifying. I almost pissed myself when they brought me up to him. I stood right at his feet. To anyone who thinks they stand a chance against this entity, you are very, very wrong. He's over 7 feet tall. He's absolutely ripped, covered in short brown fur and thick metal plates. He has a huge razor-sharp spear, like you can tell how sharp it is by how the light hits it. And yes, he has a deer head, with a huge crown of antlers, all matted up with leaves and grass like he's been fighting or smashing things. Or maybe they're just growing off of his head. He is indeed a monarch. I have no other word for it. There's power just oozing out of him, and it feels ancient, like something you do not fuck with. He just stared down at me with these huge black deer eyes. When he said, "Wild Hunt," my stomach flipped over. This is them. What else could it be? I've never been their target, but everything about them matches what I remember from the GPD. The hybrid animal-nature entities, led by Hearn the Huntmaster, that chase people through the backrooms. The ones that killed Zach and Fatima. I'm in their home. That's what this grove is. Their level. Smack dab in the middle of the hornet's nest. I'm trying not to hyperventilate, and yet they're treating me like a guest of honor, promising not to hurt me. What's with the 360? I'm terrified it's going to snap at any moment, that I might do something wrong or offend them, and they'll slaughter me. I won't stand a chance. I'm just gonna nod politely and agree to everything they say. I have no idea how I'm getting out of this alive. I don't know what happens, now. I'm currently in Hearn's house. Yep, no big deal. I didn't know what to expect when Hearn said I would personally share his house. I imagined everything from a patch of grass to a giant castle. But, in fact, it's some kind of hunting lodge. It's quite deep in the forest, but that doorway on the platform is like a portal. It's how he gets back and forth to the tree. I found that out after he walked me through it. It's a timber building that seems to be integrated with the trunks and branches of several live trees, moss and grasses growing on everything. It's actually quite beautiful, and it's smaller than you'd think for such a powerful being. POI number 18 has a humble side, it seems, but not when it comes to interior decorating. Oh no. I confess I'm very distracted from the otherworldly architecture because Hearn keeps his halls and rooms lined with his favorite trophies. Human trophies. I don't want to describe them. I really don't think it's necessary. All I'll say is that there are some whole people, some bits of people, a few objects and articles of clothing, and at least one head. I don't know how I'm going to exist in the same building for however long I stay here. I'm just extremely grateful there aren't any body parts in my bedroom. And it's a strange room. I'd much rather talk about this. Again, it seems that there are live trees in the walls and ceiling. There are leaves growing into the room, even though there can't be enough sun. My bed isn't a bed. It's a big circular cut in the floorboards, filled with mounds of fluffy, live moss. There's a stone protrusion in the corner, with a basin carved into it. It's filled with water from a spring in the rock that overflows and drains out through a groove in the floor. And the rest of the room is piled up with what can only be offerings. Fruits, vegetables, and herbs. Meat, clothing, jewelry, all neatly arranged on wooden shelves and tables. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I feel like doing both. What was I thinking? I should have run from the entities at the beginning. I should have tried. I'm surrounded by an insane, overwhelming level of beauty, and I'm living in a house full of corpses. I'm a guest of the Wild Hunt, and I might as well also be a prisoner. One of the most powerful entities in the backrooms is one thin wall away from me, and I don't know if I'll ever be found, or make contact with people ever again. It's almost like when I first got here, the backrooms, I never thought I'd see people again. When I did, it was a goddamned miracle. Now I'm alone again, only instead of having nothing, I have so much I can't make sense of it. I don't know what to do. There's a wooden bowl full of blackberries on the table next to me. At least, I thought so at first. It looked like the same fruit from the forest, but then again, I caught it in the corner of my eye, and I suddenly saw something red. I looked at it again, properly, and then there were other berries mixed in. Cranberries. I ate the blackberries, I ate the cranberries. Flavorless, again, but filling. I sat on the floor for just a bit, just staring at the wall. I tried the radio. Nothing. At some point, I found the gumption to write down everything that happened. And now, I'm starting again. Remaining files. Journal_3.txt, journal_4.txt, journal_5.txt, journal_6.txt, journal_7.txt, audio_log_13.mp3, and journal_8.txt. Opening journal_3.txt. BNTG. Those who control trade control the world. Only a Mirror. Part 1. Journal entry, October 2nd, 2022. Hello. I'm still alive. Another night. Nothing terrible has happened. I slept on the moss bed. It was more comfortable than I thought it would be. A bit moist, maybe. I ate the rest of the berries in the bowl. I still don't know what to do. I don't know what Hearn and the hunt have in store for me. I will note, I feel like I've had the best sleep of my life. Journal entry, October 4th, 2022. Things have been uneventful. They left me alone yesterday. Hearn, all of them. No one came to my room. I guess they really intend to let me rest. It's just as well. The fear and physical toll of the last 2 weeks, and the last 3 days in particular, has caught up with me. I probably slept 16 hours last night. I figured I should eat something other than berries, so I went through the pile of offerings. I found some jerky stuff in a cloth bag. It had no taste, no smell. Could be human flesh, for all I know. But I feel past judging. The fountain in the room is almond water. Might have known. It's cold and fresh, though, almost like the real thing. One more thing I'd never thought I'd miss. Just a glass of plain old water. But the trickling sound is nice. It helped me fall asleep. I'll probably sleep again. I'm still exhausted. Journal entry, October 7th, 2022. I noticed something strange today. Just a little thing. The leaves on the ceiling changed. They were all that weird shape before. The everything shape. The same leaf that's been on every single tree since I got here. But today, I looked up, and they were different. The same leaf that's been on every single tree since I got here. But today, I looked up, and they were different. Now, they're oak leaves. I like sleeping on the moss. I must be getting used to it. This sleeping right on the ground. I haven't left my room for several days now. I've spent more this week than I've ever spent before. Maybe it's not the last 2 weeks. Maybe it's all the fear of trying to survive before this. I cried into the moss last night when I realized that I might actually be safe. For the first time in a long time. Journal entry, October 8th, 2022. It happened again. The flavor thing. I was looking through the pile of gifts for something else to eat. There's the almond fountain, but I don't know if things go bad here. I figured I should eat the other food first. I won't waste it. And honestly, after years of surviving on water and goop, it's nice to actually chew on something. I found more fruit. Something apple-ish. I took a chomp, and it was like the berry, but apple. Overwhelming, full-body apple taste. And another memory. The crab apple in my neighbor's yard, growing up. It dropped fruit over the fence into ours. My mother took one once, and cut it open to show me. Look, Alicia. See the little seeds? That's where trees come from. If you plant one of those, it'll turn into a tree. I remembered her words. I remembered the wonder I felt. That packed into the tiny little thing was an entire tree. The thought of my mother and the tenderness of that memory was too much. Eating this delicious un-apple, knowing my friends in the outpost were starving, was too much. Actually feeling safe was too much. I wailed into my hands. I'm glad no one came in and saw me spewing apple and snot all over the floor. It doesn't work to cry with food in your mouth. Journal entry, October 14th, 2022. I feel a bit better this morning, not quite as drained or exhausted as I did before. Like, there's a little spark of the old me. I didn't sleep with a weapon last night. The knives on my chest were bugging me, so I unbuckled my webbing and put it aside. And I didn't keep the hound bat in my hand either. I just curled up in the moss. This new security is getting to me. Alicia's going soft. I decided to change my clothes. I realized how filthy they were. There were some things to wear, in all the stuff in the room. Pants made from some kind of hide, and a woven tunic thing, dyed several earthly colors. It might have been made from grass. It fit perfectly. Amazing how a simple change of clothes can make you feel. I actually caught myself humming a tune, if you can believe it. I've been wearing that gear for a month. The sunlight coming through the window is beckoning to me. There are still no smells here, but the idea of fresh air is appealing. I've spent almost another 2 weeks in this room. If I stare at the floor, I won't see the bodies. Maybe I'll try to go outside, do another audio log. Audio log 13-2022-10-14. Footsteps, wind sounds. Hearn, you look healthier. I wondered how long you would need to sleep. Scout, Jesus! Oh God, I'm sorry. Lord Hearn, have you been sitting there this whole time, waiting for me? Hearn, no. I have many duties to attend to. Rest assured, though, that others have kept watch in my absence for your safety. The Hunt are very eager to meet you. They want to show you our home. Silence. Scout, I'm sorry. You've been so generous to me, and all I've done is sleep. Hearn, do not apologize. You are not the first to live here. I have seen the toll that these realms take on your kind. It is remarkable that you survive here at all, a true testament to your power. Silence. Scout, if you don't mind me asking, why have you done all this for me? I don't mean to question it. I'm very grateful. It's just, I'm nothing special. I'm not a great person or anything. I don't know what I've done to earn all of this. Hearn, you do not understand who we are, or the nature of the relationship that exists between us. The Hunt shower you with gifts because they want to express their thanks. Everything we have was gifted to us by humanity, and continues to be. We are merely returning your kindness. Scout, I don't understand how that's possible. Hearn, nor should you. The last human to whom I explained it went mad. A grievous mistake, for which I will always beg your forgiveness. I will not do the same to you or any other visitor. All you need to know is that we are a mirror, and that your very presence here is a gift to us. Silence. Hearn, if you are feeling humbled and desire some further reciprocacy, there is something I might ask of you. Scout, what's that? Hearn, I would like to ask you some questions. I do not get to speak to humans very often, and there are many things that I am curious about. The Hunt have many occasions planned for you, but I am hoping that as you explore our grove, you will indulge me in some conversation from time to time. Scout, of course. Anything you ask of me. Pause. When was the last time you talked to someone? Hearn, there was another, technically, who paid a more recent visit, but he is banished for grave offenses. Note, see related tale to this level, Houses of the Holy. But he is banished for grave offenses, and I do not count him among my guests. The last true guest to survive the journey here arrived almost 20 years ago. Scout. I guess that explains why everyone's so excited. Hearn. Oh no, that is mistaken. 20 years is not a long time for our kind. It's a mere flick of a leaf. We have not been waiting long. My hunters are excited, because we've had more visitors in the last 300 years than in all our long history combined. They've grown ambitious and intoxicated with human presence, as drinking wine encourages more wine. Scout, so you're addicted to us? Hearn, you underestimate your gifts, human. As I said, everything we have, everything we are, is because of you. Your growth and creativity is our growth. Everything you do and say and imagine feeds us. You were singing to yourself earlier, were you not? Scout. Yes? Hearn. What if I told you that your song this morning gave one of my people a voice? That because you sang this morning, they can now also sing. End of recording. Later, October 14th, 2022. Hearn wasn't joking when he said that the Hunt had occasions planned for me. It seems I've been officially booked on an all-inclusive celebrity tour of the Grove, and the esteemed roles of tour guide will go to none other than Mosscat, Waterfall, and the third guy they were with when they found me, Lizard Person. After our conversation on the front steps, Hearn asked me if I was feeling up to interaction with the Hunt. I said yes, even though I was still nervous, which prompted Hearn to make some sort of snorting noise and summon the three entities. You could tell that they ran to the lodge as fast as they possibly could. When they arrived, they asked me if I'd eaten well, slept well, dreamed well, every angle of my well-being. And they all brought a little gift, more fruit. Waterfall had a large plum thing, Lizard had a branch dangling with cherries, and Cat, of course, had blackberries. They insisted that I eat, while they discussed their plans. Between the oddly tasteless fruit, the discomfort of accepting yet another gift, and wondering how it was possible for this much food to be in the Backrooms, and where the hell they were even getting it, I got distracted and lost track of everything they said. But, in essence, they laid out a very extensive proposal for all the places they wanted me to visit, all the entities they wanted me to meet, and all the events they wanted me to attend. It did leave me with a general sense of the level. Apparently, this whole place is like a circle, divided into 4 quarters, with the tree in the middle. Each quarter is a landscape, fixed in a different season. I don't know how far outwards the quarters go. Each season has its own resident entities, its own monarch, though Hearn is both the ultimate authority and Summer, its own responsibilities, and its own customs. I'm going to see all of it. And in and around all this touring, Hearn wants to talk to me. He specifically laid out some boundaries, to a very enthusiastic moss cat, so that I would have both time alone and time to spend at the lodge, in conversation. It's funny. It's almost like he wants to study me. As much as I've been making subtle notes and observations on him, I'm trying not to think about all of this too much. The prospect of everything I'm about to do is daunting. I guess 6 years of working in a dark, empty basement, note, sea level 2, abandoned utility halls, makes you an introvert. Who knew? I'm reminding myself just how lucky I really am to even be alive. It's not every day you clip into a random level and get sunshine and entities that want to feed you, as opposed to chasing you through it. But that's the other thing. I'm still trying to square all of this with the fact that these entities hunt us. I haven't forgotten whom I'm surrounded by. It makes no sense at all. If what Hearn says is true, that we're responsible for everything they have, and that they want to pay us back, then why the hell do they kill us? I have the rest of the day off. Festivities start tomorrow. I've spent an awful lot of time in that bedroom, so I think I'll wander through the streets around the lodge for a bit, clear my head, then rest. I'm going to need it. There's also something funny about the trees that I want to look at, and the grass growing on the house. I remember, distinctly, that all the grass stalks in the field I entered were the same, like a cheap video game. But it looks like there's 3 different kinds on the roof now, and they definitely weren't like that last week. Also, on the way out earlier, I thought I saw a birch tree. No image caption available. End of part 1.